you ever consider them moving this franchise?
If it becomes a disaster, yes. If you start not seeing crowds showing up, yes. If it doesn't look good here, it could look very, very nice somewhere else. But I'm not suggesting that right now. All I'm saying is that I would never sell the team. If you open a grocery store and nobody comes to your store, but 2 blocks down, you put a store in and there's a lineup outside, where are you going to have your store? And here, we're fighting every day to sell a ticket, honest to God. And when you get to the 3rd round of the playoffs and you're begging people to buy a ticket, something's wrong with that picture. So we're just hoping that changes, that's all.
All right, so those comments did not go over very well in the city of Ottawa, especially during the game, with the hashtag Melnick out trending during the game on Saturday. Why did his comments upset people so much?
Because people in Ottawa are hurt by the truth.
Oh, snap. That's where we're going right off the bat
Look,
here.
I've been in Ottawa for 2 days, so I'm an expert. I'm an expert on the market, its economics, and some combination of the two, the markenomics.
Okay.
And all I heard was an owner, thanks, man.
Markenomics.
All I heard from an owner is what 30 other owners would think to themselves. If things are a disaster in this market, I would do something. I would apply to do something. I would talk to Gary Bettman about doing something. And I don't understand, like, God bless hockey fans in Ottawa. With the attendance we've seen lately, what is the uproar about? He's not saying he's moving the team. He's saying, let's remember what he said. If it's a disaster, I would blankety blank, blank, blank.
Right.
And I have no idea why the furor rose off this the way it did. Maybe it was the timing, and people didn't think it was the right time for it, with an alumni game behind him and the NHL Classic, 100 Classic the next day.
Right.
But all he said is what every other owner kind of thinks. And I think to jump down his throat is kind of ridiculous on it. Maybe I'm alone on this.
No, I'm trying to rationalize it too. And those numbers that we just showed of the attendance, I believe, include the NHL 100 Classics. So that gets them up.
Yeah.
Going into the game, it was 25th at 15,281 fans. So maybe I don't get it either. Maybe I'm dumb too. But the fans who aren't showing up, who are ranked 25th in the league going into a game where the only way they could lift their attendance was that. And they charged a lot of money for that game.
Correct.
I'll add to it, and they paid that money. But it's one of the smallest markets in the league, and they're not going, and they're mad at the owner because he did. Like,
what did he do, Tim? Someone explain this to me. What did he do?
If you lay down all the things that are wrong with this team, half of them were done by people not named Eugene. Like, do people not remember Rod Brydon? Do people not remember that this team went into bankruptcy? Do people not remember how many days we sat at the Score television network and watched someone come out and say, if you don't start paying more money for this team, we're going to have to move it?
Yeah.
Like, you might not like the way Eugene Melnyk does his business. You might not like Eugene Melnyk himself. You might not like the way he has told the truth in the past as he sees it. But all these things that are contributing, where the arena is, the attendance, none of that, like, they're not asking outrageous numbers for their tickets.
No, and I think
they're not the ones that wanted a lack of a sellout in the. This is a team that was one goal away from the Stanley Cup final. And they were going into this game on Saturday. They were 25th in the league in attendance.
Yep.
Like, those are all truths, right?
Yeah. And what he spoke is the truth. And again, what he spoke is something any owner would think.
And you tried to warn these people last year, did you not? Did you not sit on this show
no one listens to
and say, if you don't sell out these games, people are going to talk about you moving?
Yeah, I did. But but it's a situation of the truth hurting, right? I think there's an element of this at play because a lot of people in Ottawa really get their back up at this.
Right.
And least of which from the owner. Someone like me, someone like you, that's one level of anger. To hear from their own guy, the truth hurts on that one.
Here's why they got mad. They didn't like that he ruined or used this joyous occasion to remind them of the pending doom. Right?
Right.
Like, that's what happened here.
Let's also let people know how it plays out. He didn't just stand in front of the alumni game and say, Hear ye, hear ye.
Now, we had a chance to get him to say the same thing, and he didn't say the same thing.
No, he didn't. He was pressed a lot on this issue, and he said what he said.
But just before a game celebrating the 100th anniversary that he's hosting, he threatens to move the team. That pisses people off. Let me give them some facts, okay? The Sens are 25th in attendance, or were 25th in attendance before that game pushed them up because there was over 34,000 people there. Cap Friendly had them as the 11th highest salary in the NHL. Teams behind them in attendance, the Islanders, they're also behind them in salary cap. The Canes, 30th in the NHL in spending. Panthers, 24th in the NHL in spending. Coyotes, 31st in the NHL in spending. Avalanche, 29th in the NHL in spending. And the Devils, 27th in the NHL in cap payroll. So the facts are he's paying the 11th highest tab in the league and getting the 25th most attendance heading into the game on Saturday. Keep having to say that. Heading into the game on Saturday.
Numbers hurt, man. Those numbers hurt.
Right?
Like, those are real numbers.
Like, what more do you want?
Well, I mean, but here's the other aspect of this. It's one thing to hear ownership say it. Did you watch Coach's Corner Saturday night?
Yeah.
Coach, for those who didn't watch Coach's Corner, you think Eugene Melnyk's the only guy on this soapbox going down the road? Graves kind of laid it out for you.
I don't blame him at all. They drive 13,000. He cannot survive with 13,000 people. I'm not saying he should move inside, but it's too far out, Canada. And I'll tell you one thing, if he doesn't get, well, they were one goal away, like I said, they were selling out in the playoffs. You don't sell out in the playoffs, you're never going to sell out. If your people don't show up and they don't pack the place all the time, they can't survive with 13,000. He's gone. Ottawa's gone for sure. I don't know where, but Quebec would be nice.
So that pissed off even more people. There's a lot of people tweeting in right now, and most are saying that he knew what he was getting into. Melnick. Is that fair to project on a guy?
Not when you have the 11th highest cap hit in the NHL.
Well, that's like if he was spending no money like the Montreal Expos were just before they moved.
If he was the Canes, different story.
Then you could hate him.
Yes.
But he's spending a lot of money, and they have a lot of tough decisions, and that's why I don't really understand what they want from the owner, other than I just don't like the guy. And I know people in Ottawa are struggling right now.
Yes.
Some people are struggling to make ends meet, but that doesn't mean that the owner has to eat millions of dollars a loss to keep a team in a spot where other people are struggling. And I get it.
Yeah.
I understand it, but you also have to understand the other side, and it doesn't seem like a lot of people are understanding the other side.
Yeah, that's with Melnick out, that's what it is. I still think the timing had a lot to do with that Melnick out.
Right.
If you were to say this is the Board of Governors meetings in West Palm Beach County 2 weeks earlier, a week, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know if you would have seen that, but I think Sens fans for one weekend, I think part of that was just not now.
Right.
Can we not just have a good time, take our shirts off in minus 20-degree weather, and watch Erik Karlsson block 8 shots in peace? Can we not do that? And that's, I think, the feeling that projected through the hashtag Melnick out. They felt the timing was inappropriate, and I get that to a certain extent, but let's not dump all over Eugene for speaking the truth. The truth is that anyone who spends that much money to be bottom 5 or bottom 6 in attendance prior to this weekend can say whatever the hell he wants. I don't care what any Sens fan tweets us, says, calls in to those guys up in Ottawa. It is a legitimate concern, and that guy can get on that soapbox and make the statement. Other owners around professional sports, some of them can stick it. And it's posturing, and it's a new stadium, and blah, 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 blah. The numbers back this guy up. And I'm not saying there's not great hockey fans in Ottawa, but stop for a moment, step back, and use your heads. And look at it from his perspective. And then maybe you'll realize it wasn't that crazy what he said. Maybe the timing wasn't great, but it wasn't that nuts.